Charles Lindbergh.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. 1928. It was an award to the Stanley Works for creating a signal light that was put on buildings because the planes had no navigational equipment, and they used these lights as a pathway to where they were going. And we formed this group. A group of us formed this museum because we felt we were the last Americans concerned with the artifacts that were manufactured here in Britain. It's known as the hardware city of the world. And right after World War II, 1945-46, we had 25,000 people working in the factories. And this is why you see a lot of three-decker homes in the area, because people didn't have cars. They walked to work, and they went home for lunch, and that's the way it worked. And so that's why there's a lot of three-decker houses. But nevertheless, after the war, manufacturing kind of took a heavy decrease. And we now have about 7,500 people working in Britain in manufacturing. And it's coming back. We have a lot of excellent factories here, and the Stanley Works is our mainstay. And they do still employ quite a few people. Well, he came to New Britain, and you saw his picture.
Yes,
I
did.
And his primary purpose, I believe, was to have horse bits made for his show. And if you know what a horse bit, it goes in the horse's mouth with the reins attached to each side of it. Well, on the side of the bit, he wanted to have pistols made that represented his show. And he did do that. They did make them. And we have a sample there on the counter, but we don't have any of the actual pieces that were manufactured. And I think that was his main reason for coming to New Britain. I think he came a couple other times too, but I don't know why. Evolution of toasters. This is one of their first ones. And you'd put your bread in there, and when you wanted to flip it, you push the button, and it flipped it over.
Wow, that's great.
Wow.
Isn't that something? And then the rest of these evolved into pop toasters. And Landers is really the one that really surprises me because they manufacture so many housewares. And much of it is still in use today. They manufacture things that lasted forever. We had a row of meat grinders over there that I know my mother used, my grandmother used, my wife uses, and we still have them around, and they're the same ones they bought 50 years ago. That isn't true anymore. If you buy something today, it's disposable within a year or two. So that's one of the big things about New Britain. And the other one is that the skills that the people had here were unique. And we find that the skills aren't there anymore. And hopefully that will resurface.
involved in rebuilding was that my mom saw an article in the newspaper, and she told me about it. So then I called the organization, and in the past, Goodwin Tech had been involved with Rebuilding Together New Britain, but they had not been for a long time, so we all got it started back up again.
Nice.
And I was just fortunate enough to get all these teachers and students involved. I was really shocked by how willing people were to
I think that this
help
is
out.
amazing. We're making some place that was weeded over and just kind of in ruins into something beautiful.
I think we have a lot to do before that comes about. We said we were the last group of people that had really cared about New Britain, but that's not true. We knew we were the last people that could acquire the artifacts and put them aside for future reference. And this is what we're doing. We're really caretakers at this point of some very valuable items that are going to be wonderfully displayed in the future. And we have many artifacts put away that we can't display. We don't have the room or the proper display for them. And I think you're going to find that maybe in 10 years or so, this collection is going to be very valuable, very well thought of. Past is a very important part of our lives. And we should never forget it, because it sets the pace for where we go from here. And the quality and the ingenuity and the Yankee ingenuity that was put together here, I think it just sets the pace for everybody that comes along the line.